I'm just telling you, Sam, like, if we ran a campaign that's all like Steel Ball Run, the seventh part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, you have yourself a horse race across the country, one end to the other. So, okay, that's pretty cool. Then you got the party, like, they'll have to go through a very magical, dangerous zone, and then somewhere along the line collect corpse pieces of a ancient deity. Like in Steel Ball Run, it's like corpse pieces of Jesus.
I feel like you could just make a campaign out of JoJo already.
You absolutely could. There are like several different JoJo tabletops, all homebrewed by a bunch of people. I don't know how well it would work out because like JoJo is kind of a gotcha kind of show.
Look, I don't know enough about JoJo to confirm or deny these ideas.
I'm just saying, like, the wild and crazy plot of Steel Ball Run. You go through the desert, collecting corpse parts of a lost deity. They give you magical powers. Cowboys show up and pew, 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 pew. There's guns. There's a man throwing his balls at people. And just all kinds of crazy shit. The President Funny Valentine shows up, and then like the race coordinator's child bride decides to seduce the president's wife. It's a madhouse.
People really be out here living your dreams, huh?
Well, it's like who doesn't want to run across the country with a Italian cowboy, because the Italian cowboys really embody what a spaghetti western is.
Look, maybe this is something that the Patreon may be interested in someday.
I mean, how many Patreons are going to be all like, hey, give me some of that JoJo goodness?
Yeah, eventually in the future where you DMing is a hot commodity and people are buying for a spot in your games, that'll be the day.
I certainly hope so. At any rate, I think about time we start the show. Welcome to Dungeons and Talkshows, the show that brings you homebrews, monsters, news, and all kinds of crazy things that you didn't expect and didn't know you wanted, but then you do. I am your host, Orion.
And I'm your host, Sam. Welcome to this week's episode.
And together, we got a special guest this week, Sam, don't we?
We do. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Josh. I write the Smoke and Thunder series for D&D 5e on the DM's Guild. It's all about firearms and bombs and all kinds of fun stuff you can add to your campaigns.
It already sounds awesome.
I mean, I'm already sold. I mean, being an American, I am very much in the camp of it's my constitutional right to own a cannon.
And I can tell you how many gold pieces they cost, so there you go.
It's about time.
It has come to my attention that it is not exactly illegal to own a flamethrower. So, you people out there looking to get rid of snow in a quick and easy way, head on to Smoke and Thunder and get yourself a
Smoke and Thunder does sound like a company that would sell you a flamethrower. Quick and easy. No questions asked.
Yep. That's what we aim to please.
I love it.
So is it an adventure? Is it a campaign?
No, it is essentially just a line or a series of equipment guides. Each one covers a different topic. The first one is firearms. The second one is explosives and artillery. Then it goes on to cover magic versions of both.
Oh, speaking of magic firearms, we have a player in our campaign who would probably be very interested in these kind of things. Sounds pretty cool.
And it's not me this time, although I am playing a wizard that isn't afraid to whip out the 9. So
Nice.
Yeah. We have a fighter who uses guns who is going to a gun mage for this next level up.
Excellent.
It seems pretty awesome.
That's something I wanted to tackle with Token Thunder was what I'd seen it done with gunslinger class and different things like that are or the artificer subclass that does guns and I wanted fighters and wizards to be able to whip those out without having to take a special class.
Absolutely, but I think that kind of leads us to the next question that I think would be on the minds of maybe half our listeners. How many sessions does it take once you introduce guns and explosives for the party to go full Pearl Harbor?
Oh boy, I don't know about that.
In my case, it took about 12.
12 sessions, that's all, huh?
Yeah. Well, you see, the moment that he's like, okay, we got to sneak onto this ship, and of course, when it comes to sneaking, how many parties actually want to sneak? So they went into town, consulted the local, munitions merchant, which happened to be a goblin with a Joyzy accent. And one thing leads to another. They had a few powder kegs that they lit, and the flying character proceeds to drop them, and they're casting fireball. They're blowing things up all over the place. It's just like all this unnecessary overkill. And on some of the ships weren't even owned by the enemy. They were just kind of docked in the harbor.
Oh no,
not good.
Damn.
I mean, if you don't have at least one war criminal at your table, are you even playing D&D?
Look, if the new Zelda game has taught me anything, it's that anybody has the capacity to commit new Geneva Convention war crimes. Right?
You mean the Geneva checklist?
Yeah, exactly. If they can put it into Zelda, why not D&D?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh man.
In all seriousness, I do love having explosives and firearms in games. It's just there's something fun and whimsical about having a little bit of black powder,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always love the idea of integrating, newfound technology with magic.
Yeah. Well, and that's a little bit of a thing that's always bugged me about D&D is ostensibly set in 14th, 15th, 16th century, something like that, and firearms had been around for 100, 200 years before by that point, so leaving them out's a little bit disingenuous.
Right, there's no reason
say so.
Why, maybe not the average person, but every once in a while somebody may have a gun on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they were certainly, military weapons. People weren't just wandering around with them. But adventurers are weird and exceptional people already.
Right? Yeah. There's no reason why you couldn't, come across, somebody who happens to be a gunslinger, more of a Western type character. It would be maybe not common, but not unusual. Maybe more common than someone using magic.
Yeah. Right.
I would imagine if you're in a world where someone has magic at their disposal, you gotta level the playing field. If for every guy that's got firebolt at his disposal, you gotta have at least 2 guys with either a crossbow or they're packing some heat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially for artificers and stuff, they should be popping those bad boys out no problem.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and then we've got what actually kicked me into realizing that the homebrew I'd been using for my home campaign ought to be published was that Spelljammer came out, and you've got all these these pirate ships that are flying around space, and you don't have any cannons on them. You don't have
Right.
any black powder. And I'd already been running a space-based campaign that had everything from black powder to laser guns. So I was like, well, people are going to want these.
You know, the funny thing is they're in the DMG.
You know, I think that is kind of the big problem with the martial classes. They don't have a way to really level that playing field with a high range, mage.
Yeah.
But if you have, a character capable of pulling out a rocket launcher, essentially, there's a fireball for you.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, it comes down to what the DM wants for their campaign, of course. So.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things where it really levels the playing field, and you get a lot of utility out of it. I mean, why cast knock and let everybody know that you're there when you could shoot the lock and let everybody know you're there?
You have the intimidation factor. You pulling out a cannon on somebody.
Well, you also get some very unique moments. For example, the game that I was running that we had a bunch of guns in, my brother's character, Mikkel, was tied to this mast on a pirate ship. They were trying to overthrow it and help out the crew with a little mutiny. Then the captain has him tied there. The ranger of the crew is pretending to be a chef, and everybody else is in the brig. And he's just sitting there yapping at the dude like a little chihuahua, picking a fight that he's not ready for. And the captain, having enough of his shit, takes his gun, and he's like point blank range. And I'm just like, okay, that as a DM, I'm scared because like I don't want to kill my players. I really don't.
Right.
But it just kind of situations happen, and at what point is the DM not just kind of a impartial observer? You know what I mean? So the captain points his gun at him, point blank, and I roll for it. Nat 1. So it's like, okay, hot damn. That makes for a very interesting moment where he misses completely and then gets laughed at for it. And then the situation escalates, and eventually they're able to like kind of get out of it. But the amount of tension from having a character with a gun in their face is like, there's a lot there.
Oh yeah, that's tense. Of course, the same thing's true if somebody pulls out a crossbow and sticks it in your face too. It's gonna kill you either way.
Yeah, true.
This is true.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think the impact that those kind of things that can have on campaigns could be really interesting, especially for player development and player direction. And even if they want to have that more modern feeling to this medieval, usually a setting, I think it could be really cool.
Yeah. How to properly like include guns and stuff into a campaign is something that I put into my introduction, just talking about like, how as a DM do you control that? Do you make the guns, something that's super rare and, treat them like magic items where you have to like buy them at auction or something, or do you, like let people have the guns, but they have to brew the gunpowder as a like a potion or something.
I could see that.
Yeah.
For our listeners out there, tell us your opinion on this idea. What's your thoughts on guns in D&D? We have the Reddit, we have our comments. Let us know.
Well, it's a very divisive topic. If r/D&D has taught me anything, holy shit, those people.
I can imagine.
The gun debate is one as old as D&D itself, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. I had the D&D rules cyclopedia for pre AD&D that had one gun in it, the arquebus, and I don't know if any of you have ever seen that, but like I think if you rolled a 1 the damage die was a D10. If you rolled a 10, it exploded. You kept rolling.
Ooh.
But if you rolled a 1 to hit, it exploded on you and you took damage.
It's pretty cool.
You know, I kind of like something like that because we talked about it on the show previously. There's a spell called Jim's Magic Missile where each magic missile does 2d4, but if you roll a 1 on any of the individual magic missiles, the entire spell blows up in your face.
Oh, ow.
Yeah, I like that we had kind of the normal like black powder guns in my campaign so far, but I just gave our player who's going to the gun mage his first like real gun. Like I gave him this kind of high-tech black powder rifle, and kind of gave it a little bit of a magical ability that I thought was pretty cool. When you hit with this
spiders,
when you hit with this rifle, an enemy takes an additional 2d8 necrotic damage in addition to the 2d6 piercing that this weapon deals. As an action, you may cast the spell Creeping Touch to fire a small black spider from the barrel of this weapon, increasing the spell's range to 60 feet from itself. And then the Creeping Touch spell creates this black spider that you can then look through, see through, kind of control.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
I thought that was really cool.
I guess that leads me to this next thought I have is where do you stand on like players utilizing monster parts for bits of their bullet? Because like how like if someone's making their ammo, typically the actual bullet is just like the little tip at the end. The rest is like black powder, maybe a little bit of casing or like a little bit of cotton or whatever, depending on how it's made.
Right.
But the general idea is like the tip of it, like you got hollow points, you got different materials. It could be whatever.
I could definitely see, you mix a little bit of a monster part into the black powder, or maybe you kind of infuse the bullet with like magic or something,
Yeah.
I don't see why not. If you can take parts from a monster and make a magic weapon, why can't you do the same for bullets or a gun?
Yeah, that makes sense. I know in my the latest book in the series, Magical Munitions, I had a lot of different kinds of magical bullets. Some mostly like elemental things, like in the powder or something like that. Things that'll like interact with ethereal creatures or something like that. But I hadn't really thought about using monster parts exactly.
I could definitely see, maybe say you fight like an elemental, maybe you take some of that after you kill it and you mix it in. Or if you fight like a fiend, take some of their blood or something like that.
Yep.
Or maybe like a snake fang, and then like kind of like a carve out the snake fang a little bit, but then all of a sudden you got poison ammo.
Yeah, poison bullets. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, just the idea and range of creativity that you could do something like that kind of frees up the ability. That seems really cool.
Yeah. There's all kinds of different directions you can go.
Like the classic silver bullet. I remember at one point in our campaign currently, my character thought we might encounter some undead or lycanthrope type stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go outside and try to see if I can cast some silver bullets from my silver coins.
Right.
Yeah, I think you were able to make a couple.
Yeah. We didn't encounter anything like that, but, it's fun to prepare for things.
It is. There's actually, silver bullet is just such an obvious thing, and the books already provide an option for silvered ammo. So of course, I name dropped that, but also added a spell to just generate the like you could enchant a firearm to be able to just basically generate silver ammo for the duration.
Right.
Ooh, that's awesome, dude.
Right, or just to like if you need to, like say a creature is immune to all damage but magical, you can turn your bullets into in the same way that they become silver, you could turn them, give them the magical property.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. the versatility for that would be great.
I guess when I think of this kind of stuff, another thing that kind of comes to mind for me is kind of the trope of a gun fu type situation, like the Matrix.
It's the feet.
Oh, that's awesome.
You got it as a feat? That's awesome.
Heck yes. Heck yeah.
I remember taking the time when I was working one day. I was like, just go to the bathroom for a quick break, and then before I know it, I walk out, and on my phone I just have the entirety of a monk subclass for gun fu monk.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Sometimes the gears just get turning,
What's yours with the gun fu?
Let's see. The feat lets you. Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've looked at that particular one, but I believe that it lets you like. Oh shoot! Sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up without remembering what it does.
All right, it's all right.
We do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, here it is. Okay. Advantage on one-handed firearm attacks. Excuse me. While grappling a target, you have advantage on one-handed firearm attacks. So basically, it's a point-blank range fighting style, and it also lets you considers you proficient with like improvised like clubbing strikes with firearm.
I never understood why. Why do you get disadvantage on range attacks in melee? Shouldn't you get advantage? It'd be easier to hit, right?
Yes and no. It's one of those things where, like, you know how in the movies, like, you'll typically see a person like kind of swat the firearm away?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's the general idea.
Yeah, like you can bob and weave. Like, could you imagine having a gun at point blank and then you're up against a boxer, someone who is an expert at bobbing and weaving and getting into your blind spot?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. Somebody gets up past your reach, and you can't really aim at them anymore.
Essentially.
Yeah, I could definitely see, it does make sense. If Ezra, the small wizard, were to pull out a gun in front of a large creature, I don't imagine it's just gonna, like, let you shoot it in the face.
It's so fun, though, because I took a single level in Rogue, and it's paid for itself so many times every time I whip out that gun. It's like, sneak attack. Hello.
Bang! It's so good.
Yeah.
It saved your ass a few times.
It's all fun and games until the wizard whips out the 9.
Yeah. I think it was there was a part in the last fight that you guys had with the Silver Angel figure. You pulled out the gun, you shot off a few shots, and I was like, it gets deflected by the wing. And you were like, oh no.
Well, considering how I rolled an 18 total, is like, oh.
That was the first time your bullets like didn't do, really anything.
Up until that point in the game, they almost always put in work.
Right.
All right. So, Sam, what do we got for our monster this week?
So, I was told that our guests wanted to talk about shifters this week. So I was like, hell yeah. We were going to do this anyway, I think. So I brought 3 shifters to kind of talk about, who kind of have a varying range of shape-shifting abilities, natures, descriptions, like that.
The shapeshifty boys.
Yeah. There's a few cool ones I saw. So first, I'm going to talk about the Pangolin Katanga.
Isn't a pangolin like a little Chinese armadillo-looking thing?
Yeah, they are also my favorite animal, which is why I'm doing them first. So pangolins are kind of armadillo-like, except they are kind of longer bodies. They have a very, very long tail, like maybe 4 or 5 feet, I think. Very, very long, and it's kind of prehensile. And they have these overlaying kind of like dragon scales along their backs. And they can kind of curl up, and when they curl up, the scales kind of flex outward, and they're sharp like blades.
All right.
Yeah, so they're super cool. They're my favorite. So the pangolin katanga were intelligent shapeshifting animals endemic to the Molatran Plateau. They could adopt a human and biped form as well as their natural one. Regardless of the form they were in, Katanga always cast shadow of their natural animal form. Similarly, anyone who detected illusions or used true seeing saw them as animals. There were many varieties of Katanga corresponding to different animal species. The pangolin Katanga were an uncommon race of Katanga found in the lush jungles of the Malatran Plateau in Karatur. Yeah, so these ones are just a subspecies of the Katanga. But, you know.
Are they related to like mimics in any way? Because like it seems like there's a whole lot of shapeshifty stuff. But
no, so these are more of a natural lycanthrope race. If that makes sense. Like they're born this way, and they have their own kind of natural animal form.
Shit, that just makes me think of that fucking Born This Way, like Weird Al parody. Damn it, Weird Al. You got me again.
And so this is why I pick them first, because they are... You don't hear of many, like, natural, shapeshifters with the animalistic traits, Usually it's the lycanthrope curse, or, a spell effect, or... something like that.
Yeah.
So, Katanga were intelligent animal shapeshifters who could take on the shape of a beast as well as appear in a hybrid form. The pangolin Katanga could transform into a wild pangolin, a small tropical beast with natural armor. Just like the beast, pangolin Katanga had a powerful prehensile tails, allowing them to hang off of tree branches with ease. Their hands and paws ended in long claws used for burrowing and climbing. Their tails were highly sensitive, similar to the fingers of humans, and they had long tongues, almost as long as a creature's bodies, which they used to catch insects.
This is just a clusterfuck of animals here. Like, he's got some armadillo traits, got some possum traits. It's part mole, part anteater. It's got it all.
Well, that's just the pangolin. This is without it even shapeshifting.
Yeah, in their human forms, pangolin Katanga retain some of the features of their animal form, making their race quite obvious. They appeared to be short shoe. I don't know what shoe means, but so they had telltale scale-like plates that cover the top of their heads and ran down their necks along their backs. In their bipedal hybrid forms, they appeared to be a blend of human and a pangolin, retaining the ability to use hands to manipulate objects, while the animal shape was that of a mundane pangolin. One notable feature of all Katanga, regardless of the form they took, was that the shadow that they cast was always that of the animal.
That's just a cool little detail right there.
Yeah, I could definitely see a player race being something like this.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
That'd be an interesting way to run changelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something you could have an animal form without being as OP as a lycanthrope.
Right. Or not even really on top of a druid even.
Yeah, it's like a diet lycanthrope druid, but it's still very flavorful. Like, this is the kind of thing that could satisfy your resident furry at the table, or maybe that one character that wants to be able to casually become cute and cuddly when not doing any other roleplay or combat.
Okay, look, you mentioned furries, and I gotta be real with the listeners here, alright? I have to admit that my furry OC was a pangolin man. And while I was reading this, all I could think about was my OC.
Got him.
That's awesome.
Like, God damn it. I didn't even know these were a thing when I made it.
I mean, it beats the fuck out of the time that somebody asked me what my fursona would be. In kind of a facetious panic, I said Tanuki.
I can see
Oh.
perfect.
It's just like, my fursona just walks around with these massive balls.
Smacking people with them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know that episode of South Park where they're all bouncing around on their big cancer balls? Yeah, that's my fursona.
Tanuki is definitely your vibe too. That's so funny.
Well, they're like part raccoon, part dog, all adorable, and like they're just I've never seen a picture of Tanuki balls, but like they're known for having massive balls. I've seen pictures of Tanukis, like they're just like, the cute little things.
All right, everyone send pictures of Tanuki balls to Orion's email.
I didn't ask for this, but I'm not surprised.
Right. So moving on to the next one. Also the Katanga were in 2E, and they don't really appear in anything else.
Ooh, potential future content?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So moving on to... Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, is that I'm getting vibes of one of the living campaigns that RPG Network used to do, the Living Jungle. I wonder if that's where they came from.
Oh, I wonder. It would definitely seem like it would be fitting.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I could see it.
Yeah. So moving on to the more kind of appearing in all the editions, we have the Barghest. So the Barghest were fiendish lupine shapeshifters and the only true natives of Gehenna. They commanded goblinoids and consumed mortal souls to gain power and return to the fourfold furnaces. Not sure what that is. Sounds cool though.
It sounds like it escalated quickly. Holy shit. You went from commanding goblins like a bugbear to, oh, by the way, it eats souls.
Yep. And being the only true natives of the Gehenna realm is pretty cool.
It's pretty metal, yeah.
So the true form of the Barghest resembled goblin-wolf hybrids with monstrous jaws and razor-sharp claws. Bars. They were also able to shapeshift into either a goblin or canine form, either of which were indistinguishable from normal members of their kind to most. Goblins immediately recognized Barghests in their goblin forms, and no matter the canine form they assumed, whether war dog, wolf dog, or wolf, other canines could easily identify them. A hateful orange glow was given off by their intelligent eyes when they were excited, and they were occasionally possessed They occasionally possessed unusual traits that betrayed their true nature, such as the shock of white fur or a discolored eye. It's pretty cool.
That really is. I want to use these as a DM now.
Barghest whelps naturally appeared as larger yellow-skinned goblins, eventually developing the ability to take on the form of a large wolf with powerful claws. Their true form at this stage, as Barghests matured, their forms grew to about 6 feet, 1.8 meters long, weighed 180 pounds, 82 kilograms, and their yellow skin darkened to a shade of bluish red until eventually turning entirely blue. Barghests that achieved greater status could transform into 8 feet, 2.4 meters tall, 400 pounds, 108 kilograms. Goblin-like monsters are into dire wolves.
Damn.
That's a fucking big dire wolf, dog.
Yeah.
That's huge. Oh my
I
God.
would say so.
On incredibly rare occasions, Barghests could grow into such gargantuan proportions that they could occupy small mountains. Other goblinoid races like bugbears or hobgoblins were known to have Barghest versions of their kind. That's horrifying.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
That is. Congratulations, DMs out there who have been struggling to make goblins threatening. Here you go.
Yep. Have a Barghest be born into a goblin society, and they would probably worship it basically. They'd be like pack
classic
leader.
Goblin King.
Yeah, Goblin King. Basically.
Be a hell of a goblin chieftain.
That would be horrifying.
Well, even more so if you give it that whole David Bowie vibe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, going for Labyrinth right here. I'll shamelessly rip that shit off.
Right.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I've used it in a campaign before.
It's fantastic.
1 second. Gotta move this back up.
I'd say that when it comes to these Barguests, for an IRL fight score, I'm gonna give that I'd say a 6 or a 7.
So
Like-
hold on. There's a little bit more I can tell you that might shift your score a little bit. So the other ones didn't have any notable abilities, but the Barguests do have a few. They had numerous spell-like abilities at their disposal, such as Levitate, Pass Without Trace, Dimension Door, Charm Person, and numerous illusion and enchantment powers. Greater Barguests had access to group spells such as Invisibility Sphere, Mass Bull Strength, and Mass Enlarge.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. That changes it a lot.
They could take on either their true forms, goblinoid form, or canine forms in a matter of seconds, although their equipment was left behind. Their goblinoid forms were generally derived of natural weapons, but could don armor and handle tools. Some were also capable of taking on other humanoid shapes, such as those of drow, but would keep their bestial strength even in more lithe forms. Their wolf form was faster and stealthier than their true form, and able to use Path Without Trace much quicker, but lacked much of their spell casting. And the claws of their true form. Canines were immediately driven to fear and hate Barguests in their wolf forms, that's good to know, attacking them whenever feasible. That's actually interesting.
Okay.
So if a pack of wolves were to discover a Barguest, it's like it's on sight.
Huh. That's interesting. Is that all you got for those?
A little bit more. And then I'll move on to the last one. Well, the last one has a really short bit, so I'm going a little bit longer on this one.
Okay.
Although
fair
enchanted weapons were required to seriously harm a Barguest, they possessed a number of glaring weaknesses. Holy water was a viable weapon against them, and Barguests that had not reached greater status could be affected by fiend targeting powers like protection from evil, returning powers of some clerics. Ironically, the fiends were most threatened by open flames, as infernos larger than their bodies, either 10 feet wide or tall, could immediately return them to Gehenna. That's
Oh,
good to
that's a good weakness.
Yeah, they could attempt
Yeah.
to resist the draw of their home plane and normally could not be banished by explosions or bursts of fire from the breath of a red dragon or a fireball spell. When in canine form, however, Barguests suddenly enveloped by magical flames were just as likely to be sent back to the fourfold furnaces as they were under normal conditions.
That is cool as fuck.
So you hit a canine Barguest with a fireball and it could just poof.
I could just imagine the player reaction to like, what the fuck?
Like, where'd it go?
Did you cast Fireball or Banish?
Especially
I think I know my spells.
if they hadn't seen it like use invisibility before.
right? Do these damn things go ethereal or something?
Oh man,
The paranoia would set in so fast.
Oh man, but yeah, that's a Barguest for you.
Okay, so revising my IRL fight score, I'd say a high-end ones, that's a nope at a 9, and the low-end ones I do think I could reasonably take.
Yeah. I would give those maybe about a 7, 8.
Like I think the lowest end, I could probably like maybe a 4 or 5.
Or
The mid tier probably like 7. Because like if I could get the jump on one, and like if I knew about the fire situation, a little bit of prep time makes all the difference.
That's true. That's fair.
Uh,
And they're not
But if they get the-
particularly that intelligent.
Yeah, like I can plan ahead for things, but if they get the jump on me, I'm done.
Right. So the last shapeshifter that I have here are the Haraknin, I think is how you say it. They are a 3E type of canomorph whose original form was a hellhound.
Ooh.
So yeah, they are natural hellhound shapeshifter.
Wow. Okay.
So Haraknin resembled ordinary hellhounds in their original form. Typically took the appearance of a human or half-orc with flame-colored hair and red eyes. With wiry red rust hair on their body, Haraknin always smelled faintly of brimstone. And there's really not much on them. Even for their abilities, like all canomorphs, they could shift between their natural hound form and humanoid form at will. Additionally, they had a breath weapon in the form of a 30-foot, 9.1 meter cone of fire. They could also use greater command against hellhounds, and they had a hellhound would never willingly attack. Apparently, they were created by archfiends as guard dogs.
This just sounds cool to throw in.
Yeah, right. Have your party get like hunted by a couple of these, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Be pretty cool.
Make good hunters.
Yeah. And these only appear in 3E, so they got a lot of.
Yeah, 3E has so much cool shit that never made it into 5th edition.
And they look kind of like bugbears almost, but they have like a red fiery mane almost.
Oh, that's cool.
Really cool. But yeah, that's all I have for the 3 feature shifters for today.
All right.
What do you think about that one? I give that one probably like a 5.
Yeah, I'd say if I got the jump on it while it's in its human form, yeah.
Yeah, I could probably take the human form.
But they start shifting into their hellhound form. I'm
Breathing
out.
fire and shit.
Yeah, that breath weapon.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like, sorry guys, I can't fight on account of my allergy to fire.
I'm allergic to burning to death.
yeah, I got a doctor's note. Sorry.
Yeah, I think for all 3 of these, I think you could insert them into a situation fairly well.
Honestly, it makes me want to put more shifters in my games.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to make a character.
Fair enough.
So, now that we're done with that, do you have any news for this week?
We do have some news, and feel free to comment on the few things I got for us this week as far as the community D&D news.
Yes,
let's see here. D&D price increase of printed books despite continuous financial success. Who wrote this article with financial success?
How much of a price increase? Because they're already kind of high.
I don't know. You're looking at, like, traditionally I go to a store. I'm looking anywhere from like $40 to $60 a D&D book.
Damn.
Yeah, I think their MSRP is going from 50 to 60.
Oof. I think usually when I see them in like a Walmart. They're like 30, maybe $25.
The Walmart special, right?
Right, exactly. When I do see like the fresh ones, like a bookstore, I could definitely see them around like 45, 50. But already, that's kind of
just kind of skimming through the article. It's like they're like, oh hey, they raised it by about 20%, and yeah, I guess that makes sense. They had a rough first quarter this year because of the OGL debacle, so they're probably trying to make up for those profits, and Hasbro breathing down their necks like, you must give us more profits. Her. Well, what choice do they have?
Much as I would love to have a bunch of books, I'll take PDFs. I'll be happy with that.
Give me those third-party creators.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, we're not rich. What do you think this is? You can just drop $80 on a book?
Honestly.
I'm not sure if third party print books are gonna stay. I assume they're gonna go up too.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of discussion of how much it costs to pay writers and stuff. And
Oh no, definitely. But even even with the books going up with that, everything else will probably go up too. I think PDFs will kind of stay at the lowest out of the comparable, just because there's not any actual printing involved.
yeah, I think the official word from WotC was that they were not raising the price on D&D Beyond downloads.
That's pretty good. That would be kind of a dick move.
Honestly, it's just like they're putting all their eggs in one basket here, and there's just so much pressure on them to keep making money. It's like, oh, calm down, guys. It's D&D. It's gotten as popular as it can be.
Yeah.
It's like they're even selling sets of dice in Walmart now. Like, I never imagined that would happen.
Yeah.
I've always seen dice in Walmart.
Like, it used to be like, if I wanted to get a D&D book, I'd have to go to like the local bookstore, like a real small place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my first stuff in like Walden Books at the mall when that was a thing. But that was back in the 80s. No, wait, no, I'm sorry. That was back in the early 90s. But we've come a long way.
My dad used to tell me how like him and his friends would like go, like they couldn't even afford the books back then, but they'd like have coordinated strikes and raids on these bookstores. Like they'd all go in, they have this whole setup for stealing a single D&D book just so that they'd do their thing.
Oh wow.
Oh man.
It's just like, I admire the tenacity, but it's like, most people homebrew their shit. Like, that seems a little too much. But this was also before like the internet hit it big, so like, I guess I get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was definitely no internet when I got started. So it's everything was notebook paper.
Right. And let's see what else we got here for news. Sam, you would probably know the most about this. Critical Role has recently put out a free quick start for the Candala Obscura, their new series they started recently.
Yes, I was able to catch the episode as I was getting off of work on Thursday. It was really cool. So basically, Candela Obscura is a new kind of D&D-esque system that they've created, where it's a lot more similar to maybe Call of Cthulhu. The way the dice work are different, the way your skills work is different. It doesn't really seem to be like real combat, at least from what I've seen so far. It seems to be a lot more mystery solved. You have your classes that are more like occultist and doctor, professor, magician, stuff like that.
All right, that sounds pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah. And so I was watching the episode, and they're doing the Critical Role thing, and then they pull out with the costumes, and they look all like they're dressed for like the 80s. Maybe not even the 80s, like the 60s ish. They got like the what are they called? the hats with the tops. They got those. The vests on, looking real spiffy. And,
I don't know. If I hear like I don't know, 50s and 60s, I'm just waiting for someone to be like, "Yo, how's it going, hemp cats?" I love the phrase hemp cats. Like, damn, old school vernacular is fun. Like the 80s had, "Whoa, that's heavy." I love that. But hemp cat, it's so fun.
It's so good. Yeah, so Candela Obscura is the secret organization that basically are kind of like supernatural investigators. and they're kind of like a secret organization that kind of works beneath the law. There's the what were they called? The OSCU or something like that, kind of like the police for that kind of thing. They're like, don't trust them, and it reminds me a lot of your Acquisitions Incorporated system, where they're working for like a boss and they are sent out on these missions, and they research these events and they do all these investigations. It's really cool.
Well, it certainly makes things easier to have your party already together working for a company. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do they start in a tavern thing again for the upteenth time, or I have trouble getting my players to work together because one is always edgy and doesn't want to cooperate. You can solve all that by you're already working together.
Yeah.
And you're working for this person for this reason, and you've been at it for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What I think is really interesting is the way that damage is handled in this new system. You have, if I remember correctly, it was body, mind, and bleed. And bleed is basically the effect that magic has on you. When you encounter something magical, it'll affect you in some way, and you'll take a bleed point, and then you have to describe how it affects you. And that's what I also really like about this, is it's very RP heavy, and then the body, if you take damage, and then you have the mind, how does it affect you psychologically?
Okay, so it's like a body, mind, and spirit. Like bleed is the spiritual effect of magic on you.
Exactly right. And I say it relates to a lot of Call of Cthulhu because they have the the insanity in the mind system.
I do like that because in so many different RPGs, it's just like you're facing down all this horrendous shit like it's nothing. Like you're not going to have a little touch of the PTSD.
A lot of the time, your characters are just regular people. You're just a guy.
Just a little guy.
No guy is just going out and be like, yeah, I can fight demons today. Sure. It's gonna fuck you up a little bit.
I mean, that's the same kind of guy that says that they could fight a bear and win.
I mean, all right, fair enough.
I've seen surveys. There's always people that think they can fight a bear.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't stand a chance, but
it's like, dude, fight a bear? I live up here in Maine. We got scarier things than bears. You ever hear of a moose?
Moose. They're terrifying.
Yeah, I definitely recommend checking out the Candela Oscura if you're looking for something a little different from D&D, to change it up. You want to put your players in a mystery setting, really let them solve crimes, solve these strange situations that you want to come up with. I don't know the details. I don't know if it's like their own adventure, or you can go ahead and follow that directly, or if you just kind of make your own. But people are gonna do that anyway. So
yeah, and it comes with pre-generated characters.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're not feeling up to learning all of the character creation, it's like, okay, just let your party try it out. If they like it, they like it. If not, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else we got here? Dungeons and Dragons tosses out the one D&D label, but struggles to define the next chapter. So they don't want to call it 6th edition. Okay, I gotcha. Fair enough. But what are they going to call it, though?
It's a worst 5.5.
You know what? I'd be okay with 5.5. I mean, this is a revision of the rules.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be 5e compatible. But at this point, everybody and their mother is 5e compatible. Everyone's making 5e compatible content.
Sure. Well, I guess that maybe that's their point of view. Is everybody's calling their thing 5e compatible, no matter how much they change it. They can change it themselves and make it still 5e compatible.
It's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
They're maybe they're doing it that way because they know that a lot of people are going to hate it. So they're just kind of It's like a little bit of lamp shading. Like they're trying to get out in front of it and be like, oh, it'd be awful if you guys hated it, but it's compatible with 5e, but it's not 5e. So if you still want to play 5e, you don't have to play this. I think the community basically owns 5e at this point because like the community's doing a better job of creating 5e content than the actual people that make 5e.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And that's where Josh here comes in.
I'm trying my best.
Making that good content. Like, Wizards of the Coast wasn't going to give us a book full of guns.
Nope. I mean, to be fair, the playtest I've seen, they have put a musket and a pistol in their playtest. So I guess they're gonna put them in the player's handbook. But one long arm and one short. That's
Baby
it.
steps.
Yeah. they weren't gonna give you the 60 plus I made.
Yeah. If you want the good gun selection, here's the guy for it.
What would you say is the your favorite that you've come up with out of all of your guns?
Oh wow, that's rough. I into like 7 time periods, so you can do medieval gunpowder, or you can do Star Trek. So
let's say futuristic, like how
futuristic.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Probably. Oh, I think. Okay. Probably not the farthest future, but like the cyberpunky kind of era.
Yeah, right.
There's some really cool shit there. I've got something I call a lightning rifle that does lightning damage, but also has a chance to stun. And if you're wearing metal armor, or if you happen to be a robot or something, you have disadvantage on the save.
Nice.
I like that. Ooh, what if you had like a improved version of it that has like a very small chance of arcing off to like another target that's within 5 feet for like a fraction of the damage.
If you're also wearing metal or something too.
Yeah,
just
cool.
like chain it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, the chain lightning rifle.
I always love chain lightning. It's so cool.
Yeah, I did that with one of the. I think it was like a blaster rifle, which they deal lightning damage in my rules. I think there was a chain version, but I threw in there.
He beat me to it.
Yeah. I just with the stunning, I didn't want to, like, that's already an extra effect. I didn't want to have an extra effect, but the really advanced stuff like lasers and blasters, they just deal energy damage. Like they don't really have special effects usually, except for like phasers, because phase rifles and phase pistols. I can't call them Star Trek names.
Right.
But they of course have the ability to knock people out and whatnot. But
nice.
you're
phasers to stun.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. But basically it's just if somebody gets knocked to zero by them, they aren't bleeding out. They're asleep.
Right. Nice. I like that. Ryan, I think before you move on, why don't we go on and hit our quick break?
All right, let me just pull up some stuff right here, because look at me, always the ever prepared boy.
One of us has to be.
Well, it's not me.
It's not me.
Okay, if it's not me, it's not you.
It's the ghost that does all of our work for us.
All right, so quick break.
Yeah.
And a word from Gronk.
We'll be right back.
Attention all citizens of the Forgotten Realms. A strange anomaly has been detected that's created a dangerous shapeshifters. These entities may appear to be the same individual that you know and love and meet every day, but they're not. Do not trust anyone who appears to have been replaced by these shapeshifters. If you suspect that someone you know has been replaced by a shapeshifter, contact your local authorities immediately. Remain vigilant at all times, and remember, you do not recognize the bodies in the water. Be on the lookout for any suspicious activity or behavior and stay away from anyone who appears to have been affected by this anomaly. Your safety is our number one priority.
Oh, that worked. Good.
Okay, well, is a little footnote there?
No, you don't have to read that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go get me a coffee. You let me know when I need to come back.
Right. Just go. And waiting on Sam.
All right, I'm back.
And he's back. Welcome back.
Welcome. Whew.
You just missed Gronk, Sam.
Oh no, I heard the announcements was everywhere.
You gotta be careful of all these shape-shifty boys.
Yeah, I thought I saw something on the way back, and tried to stay away, but not sure if it caught up with me.
Well, you gotta be careful with that stuff. One thing kind of got me a little bit with Gronk's announcement there.
Oh yeah.
It says to contact the authorities, but what if the authorities are shifters too?
Squidward, the robots are running the Navy!
Oh man.
So
you can't trust anyone.
Might have to dock Gronk's salary. I don't think that whole thing was written out right.
Damn it, Gronk. Misleading the masses. You know who they can contact? Zogatharth. Zorgathrax. There you go.
Yeah. Good old Zorgathrax.
He'll know what to do. Yeah, what's next on the news agenda here?
Oh, we got one last thing. And that's the Pathfinder Nexus open beta brings the RPG that much closer to the digital D&D equivalent. So apparently they're finally hitting open beta with their Pathfinder Nexus. So that's pretty neat.
What is
really
Pathfinder Nexus? Why don't you go ahead and explain that to maybe people who may not be aware?
Well, Pathfinder Nexus is it's been around in closed alpha since about last year, as kind of like I guess, according to the article, a demi-plane of sorts. The digital platform creates third-party tools for tabletop RPGs online. Just like a lot of these other things that you usually see, like the Roll20 or the Tailspire. Like, this is worked with and published by Paizo, and it's catered more towards the more second edition of Pathfinder.
I see. I'm checking out a video of it right now.
Yeah, the open beta it allows for free accounts to be made with up to 7 characters, so people can really play around and get a feel for it, run some test games, really see if it's what they're looking for.
I see, you can use it on your phone. Looks kind of like it's set up like D&D Beyond.
Yeah, it's pretty well set up. 22 distinct classes. Lots of background traits. Pathfinder is very well known for having all this extra when it comes to how they build their game. So
integrated video and voice, nice. I wonder if you're able to. I assume so, but kind of make homebrew classes within this.
Well, Pathfinder's always been good for that kind of thing ever since their first edition, and it says here that It looks like they'll probably be having their full library of digital adventures and source books.
I could definitely see if this becomes like a useful tool, moving away from Roll20 with this.
Yeah, it says Demiplane's site claims that all digital books purchased on their website and will award a free PDF version through Paizo. Hey,
Ooh,
that's what we've been
nice.
asking wizards to do for years.
That's actually awesome.
Someone's listening. And it says here, Demiplane has strove to grow its reputation as a tabletop community, increasingly adopt and mainstay champion digital play. The company previously hired some designers and tool engineers that published support for a number of other popular titles, including Vampire the Masquerade, Avatar Legends, and the Alien RPG. And Marvel Multiverse. Wow.
Oh man, I'm checking this out. This is really cool. Look at the ancestry. I guess these are the races, and these are really sick. So here, I'll go over these a little bit. So there's the Anadi. They look to be a race of spiders. There's the androids, which you would assume them to be. Looks like automatons. They look kind of like Warforged. but-
They basically are.
Yeah, they look really like high-tech
Pathfinder's
warfare.
wild, dude.
It's really fucking cool. We got the Azar K, inheritors of a shattered empire's legacy. I'm not quite sure. They look kind of like they have gills. Maybe they're like an aquatic race. We have the Catfolk, the Konrasu. They are shards of cosmic force given consciousness. Interesting. Dwarves, elf. We have Fetchling, once human and now something apart. They're influenced by the shadow plane. Cool.
That's
Got
neat.
the Flesh Warp, looks like an aberration humanoid. The Gorin, looks like a plant humanoid. Gnolls, gnomes, goblins. Golema.
Yeah, they're your standard stuff.
Yeah, Golema. I'm not sure what these are. They look kind of like horse people, but I can't see its face.
I will say that one thing that you'll find with Pathfinder, assuming it's not too different from what First Edition was. First Edition had a lot of hybrid classes. Like, say you wanted something that really embodied what. Like, they would take a couple classes and they'd kind of create something that's kind of like the in between, like the Scald class, for example. It gives you a little bit of that bard flavor with a little bit of that barbarian.
So cool. Oh yeah, it's all a little bit different. Looking at the druid right now, I think this is the same. No, I think it's a little bit different. Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, definitely.
Oh man, guys, definitely check this out. There's a lot to see, a lot to look at. This could be. I could see myself running something like this for sure.
Maybe we should try Pathfinder at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed.
Josh, have you ever played Pathfinder?
I haven't. I never got into it. I played a whole lot of 3.5 and didn't want to abandon my library when Pathfinder came out.
Yeah, I remember when First Edition of Pathfinder came out. After looking through it, like most groups that I had played with 3.5 at the time would kind of use a lot of the stuff interchangeably because the rule sets were very compatible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, I'm going to move into our next little segment because why not? Yeah, DM's Describify. Scribe. I like that you gave it a better name than what I had. Describify.
Descriptify.
Well, the word I'm bringing you guys this week is behoove.
Behoove.
Good word.
Now, yeah, well, basically it means that to be necessary or proper for or beneficial to. Now, this would be a fun word to have a noble kind of character use when talking to the party. Be like, it would behoove you to do this.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
Mhm.
It'd be behooving. It's like, yes. It would behoove us to go and do this thing over here. It's like, it's just saying that it's proper for you to do something, or necessary to do something, or beneficial. Advantageous, even.
I like it.
Yeah, my wife uses it a lot, actually. the only person I know that does. All right. So, I guess the next thing is moving into our homebrew, but
Yes.
I guess the first thing is, would our guest like to kind of talk a little bit more about his stuff, his homebrew?
Sure. You want me to just riff, or you have any questions?
I'm gonna start the segment off with generic realm, lots of fun, excellent. And with that, just go for it, man. Like, I love hearing this stuff.
Okay. So all my work kind of grew out of my homebrew campaign, which was based in a spacefaring fantasy setting, and so there were all these different cultures butting up against each other. Everybody had different tech levels, and I wanted it to be exciting for people with guns to go up against people with swords, and not just wipe the board with them. So I wanted to kind of balance things between laser guns and early guns and Wild West guns and people still using bows, and so I tried to kind of make them cool without making them like, they deal 3d10 damage and stuff like that, which the 6 guns in the DMG were just like, oh, this is basically doesn't do anything interesting. It just does a lot of damage. And I was like, that's not how I want this to go. So
Honestly, because like the average commoner in D&D is like a D4 plus whatever their con might be, typically
Right.
a +1. So it's like,
Right.
okay, the average person's going to have about 5 hit points. So with the average weapon, like say a sword or a battle axe, like you should be able to one-hit kill a commoner, and a gun is basically in the same neighborhood.
Mhm.
So I would reason that the damage should be no different than your average D6s, D8s, or D12s even.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Like, you can kill someone with a dagger, but a dagger's statted as D4s. So
Right.
clearly, we're talking about, like you said, the average commoner. The people who have real pools of hit dice are exceptional, and we're used to thinking of guns as being one shot, one kill or whatever, and that's because we're used to guns being in more realistic settings that are based in the real world, and that's just not how D&D rolls.
Precisely. And honestly, like guns in real life, like plenty of people are, I guess any veteran with a Purple Heart could tell you, like, you can survive a bullet.
Yeah, of
You know?
course.
I mean, it just depends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like with any weapon, it depends on where you got hit and under what conditions and
Yeah.
and all of that. And it's not that guns or dominate because they make a bigger hole. It's because they're easier to train people on. They're easier to maintain than bows and crossbows, and they've got really good range if if you're talking modern weapons. And the early ones weren't so hot on the range, but it was a hell of a lot easier to train somebody to load a musket than it was to have them constantly drilling to keep their muscles built up for a longbow.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because like that's a whole lot to just build your muscles up to be able to do. Like there's an entire training regimen for it. And
yeah, it was intense.
Interestingly enough, like if you go on the real life side of things, like when it comes to firearms, like tons of people are able to use those. Like in my home state, we're very big on guns, lots of hunting, lots of gun fanatics. But interestingly enough, we have tough laws on blades. Like lots of states do, and places all over the world. It's like you see just as hard, if not tougher laws on knives and daggers and blades and things, or like nunchucks. There's like,
oh god, but nunchuck laws are ridiculous.
Honestly, like, dude, I'm not afraid of someone that busts out nunchucks. Like, odds are there's only two situations that are going to go down there. Either they hurt themselves in the process, or they actually have some competence in using them.
Or I'm about to get my ass beat. Like,
yeah. Like, dude, if someone is competent with nunchucks, odds are they're martial arts disciplined enough to not be starting a fight in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing with all weapons. It is a martial artist can kick your ass barehanded, but everything adds a little bit of reach, or adds ranged attack or whatever. It's all about versatility rather than what hits harder, really.
Right.
Yeah, it's just I think they're all like very good and usable. It's just I think people kind of overestimate how good guns really are. I mean, if guns were the end all be all, we'd see a lot more harder things on the books involving them than we do on the smallest little things. Like, cop pulls you over on the side of the road and you got a pocket knife that's just a centimeter over that 3-inch mark for the blade. Book 'em, boys, we're done.
Yeah.
It's just like clearly like a D4 of damage from a dagger. That must be a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And of course, it comes down to the skill of the person who's handling it, whether we're talking real world or a character class. Like, rogue can add those D6 of sneak attack to anything. It doesn't matter.
Definitely. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, it doesn't matter if it does D4 or D12. If they're adding 3D6 to it, you're say goodnight.
Right, a knife in the hands of a rogue could be deadlier than a gun in the hands of a gunslinger.
Yeah, absolutely.
That gives me an idea for a character build that I think you both will really appreciate.
I'm listening.
Okay, going off of what you said, where almost anything in the hands of a rogue can be deadly.
Yeah.
Okay, you only need 2 levels to make this work. A level in Warlock to grab Hexblade, and a level in Rogue because you get your sneak attack.
Mm-hmm.
Then you grab that Tavern Brawler feat. You're good to go because all of a sudden Tavern Brawler. Hold on, Ashlyn, go to bed. Go. Yes. Busting in here to give daddy hugs.
Oh.
Anyway, like I was saying, with this build right here, you would basically have the Tavern Brawler make you proficient in any improvised weapon.
Right.
True.
And then with Hexblade, that improvised weapon, as long as it's light and one-handed, can be a packed weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
And light packed weapons are like, you're able to all of a sudden use your charisma for this shit and then follow that up with sneak attack damage.
Yeah, Hexblade Spoon Rogue. I like it.
Spoon.
I love it.
Get spooned, boy. I once killed a man with this fork.
Oh God, makes me think of Robin Hood. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The Sheriff of Nottingham says, "I'll cut your heart out with a spoon."
Yeah, it's like that, except it's legit.
Yeah.
Your patron has decreed that you can slay the entire kingdom with this frying pan. Actually, Hexblade makes that even better because you get smites for your spell slots as you level up. Searing Smite Frying Pan with Sneak Attack.
Oh.
Damn.
I don't know if you can, but I'm intrigued enough to say yes as a DM.
Yeah, I think that gets into rule of cool there, because technically improvised weapons don't have the light feature, even if they don't weigh much. So.
Sure.
But yeah, I'd allow it. This guy's
Yeah,
awesome.
I would allow that too. That sounds really funny.
Fuck yeah.
I think that's a good transition into your homebrew feature.
Well, I suppose so. Let's see. Let me pull this up right here. The Strength Domain Cleric.
I like it.
I'm personally a big fan of the fact that they put Alex Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist on here.
Hell yeah, the boy.
I don't know how we didn't have a strength domain to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, you'd think it would be like base D&D.
Yeah, Third Ed had that.
All right, let's see here. For the cleric spells that you get as a bonus, for first level, we got Zephyr Strike and Catapult. Third level, Enlarge Reduce, Immovable Object. Fifth level, Pulse Wave and Intellect Fortress. Cool. Seventh level, we got Staggering Smite and Resilient Sphere. Then at your level 9, we got Steel Wind Strike and Arcane Hand. Okay, good stuff. So let's see here. The strength has always been admired for the power that created the multiverse. Clerics of this domain worship deities such as Thor, Lathander, Grumsh, and Tempest to increase their own strength and spread the virtue of it.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is good for a might makes right type character. Maybe? I don't know. Okay, starting at first level, you gain proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor. As well as you get spiritual might. Okay. Piety leads to inner strength. Also, at first level, you count as one size larger than you currently are for the purposes of lifting, pushing, and carrying abilities.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Nice. Okay.
This increases to 2 sizes at 6th level and 3 sizes at level 10.
Damn.
At 4th level, your jump distance is tripled, and you don't need to run or make a running long jump or high jump. When you make a strength check, you can gain a bonus equal to your wisdom modifier to a minimum of 1. At 6th level, you can add your wisdom modifier to your strength saving throws.
So basically what you're telling me is this is Hercules.
Yes.
Yeah.
So far, I'm liking the concept. Like, this is a character that gets to be strong and do strong things. They get to lift, push, carry, and jump. They get to jump good.
Jump good.
Exactly. Let's see. They also get communal vigor. The strong must empower the weak. At first level, when a friendly creature fails a strength saving throw or ability check, or saving throw against the frightened condition within 60 feet of you, you can use your reaction to allow it to reroll, potentially making it pass. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses on a long rest. Okay, so it's just like your entire presence of strength can help those around you feel strong too. Not a guarantee, but still neat.
I like that.
So do I. And then let's get to their channel divinity, Righteous Impact. You can summon the power of your deity to smash your foes. As an action, you hold your holy symbol and pick a point within 90 feet of you. Each creature within 10 feet of the point must make a strength save. A creature takes 2d10 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone on a failed saving throw, half as much damage, and is not prone on a successful one. This damage increases to 3d10 at level 5, 4d10 at level 8, 5d10 at level 11, 6d10 at level 14, and 7d10 at 17th level. So, damn, you progressively get more powerful and stronger. So you're really feeling that muscular development through this subclass.
I like it. Sounds pretty cool.
And looks like the other channel divinity is Power of Behemoths. The divine energy flowing inside strengthens you. At 6th level, you gain these... Oh, wait, no. Oh, I guess that's not a channel divinity. That's just your 6th level ability. You can roll a d8 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strike, and it counts as a simple melee weapon. Your unarmed strikes count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage.
Man, what if you mix this with a few levels in Monk?
I think the implication here is that you could mix it with anything that could give you smites.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Because it specifically says your unarmed strikes count as simple melee weapons.
Oh man, imagine if Titan had this. That'd be disgusting.
I'm loving it.
For those of you who don't know, Titan was my Warforged monk that I played in one of Orion's campaigns.
That was actually Donovan's game. That was the Storm King's Thunder. Yep.
Yes. Shame we didn't get to finish that one.
It's a shame. Let's see. Also, you ignore the negative effects of encumbrance, though your movement speed still becomes 0 if you're over encumbered. You have advantage on rolls against being unwillingly moved, becoming prone, grappled, or restrained. You no longer need to sleep and can't be forced to sleep by any means.
Nice.
You gain the benefits of a long rest and can spend 8 hours doing light activity such as exercising or keeping watch. So at 6th level, basically, you're just sitting there pumping iron while everybody else is sleeping.
I could see it. It's definitely an Armstrong thing.
That's pretty fun right there. It kind of falls off a little bit. At 8th level, we got extra attack. So you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the action on your turn. At 14th level, once on each of your turns when you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can cause the attack to do an extra d8 of the damage of the same type dealt to the weapon's target. Okay. Nothing too crazy there, because we already spent all our crazy early on.
Right.
And then capstone for this is Atlas Blessing. Your physique will forever be in its prime. At 17th level, you no longer physically age. You cannot be aged by magical effects. You no longer need to eat or breathe. And you are immune to the stunned, paralyzed, and exhausted conditions.
Damn.
Also, when you successfully hit a creature with a melee attack and want to, you can cause it to make a strength save against your spell save DC. On a failure, you can push the target 10 feet away in any direction. On a success, only push it 5 feet from you.
You know, this is a legendary figure. You know, you could have this as maybe you have your party go find them.
Well, I like this because
Cool.
it allows you to slowly become the immovable object and the unstoppable force.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I give this 10 out of 10. I really like it.
I dig it. I can see that fitting with so many different combinations. So much you could do with it.
I think it's powerful, but I don't think it's necessarily overly powerful.
Right.
Definitely going to pop that in the description. All right, Sam, what you got?
All right, so as I've said many times, I love scythes, so I figured why not talk about another scythe today.
Sweet.
So today I bring the Crimson Scythe. Pull this up. All right, so the Crimson Scythe is a great scythe weapon, legendary, and requires attunement. Let me zoom in here. Okay. So, this scythe has been passed down from leader to leader of the Petalwood clan of druids. This scythe has lived in the Frostweald for centuries. And legends tell that this scythe was forged before the elemental winter descended upon the area. It symbolizes the hope that one day spring will return to the Frostweald. The wielder of this scythe is traditionally tasked with guarding the forest, making sure it can be ready to bloom when warmth once again washes over the area. Adorned with live, magically infused roses and intricately crafted hilt, this scythe holds a blade of red obsidian. It must be wielded with two hands and has the reach property. Any druid that wields this scythe is automatically proficient with it and can use the scythe as its druidic focus. Attacks with this scythe get a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls, and deal 1d10 slashing damage to a single target. When swung, the Crimson Scythe trails spectral rose petals that affect nearby creatures. All creatures in a 10-foot radius around the wielder must make a dexterity saving throw, DC 13, and take 2d6 poison damage on a failed save or half as much on a success.
Instantly, I'm thinking Marluxia. I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan.
Oh yeah? So the scythe holds 5 charges. How many charges are present can be determined by looking at the roses that adorn the scythe. Each rose holds 1 charge. When a charge is expended, a blossom closes. When exposed to a sunrise, 1 expended rose charge is replenished. The wielder can expend 1 or more charges to produce one of the following effects. 1. You cast a Misty Step spell as a bonus action on your turn. You disappear in a swirl of rose petals that function similarly to those from an attack roll, but those petals only reach 5 feet around. So you get a poison cloud, essentially, within a 5-foot range from where you disappear.
Alright, that's pretty cool.
As a bonus action, you can cause one creature that failed its dexterity save against the rose petals to become poisoned by 1d4 turns. When poisoned, they have disadvantage on their attack rolls and ability checks. Okay, so you can choose someone to auto-fail, basically. Oh no, a creature that failed to save to become poisoned for 1d4 turns. Okay, I see. And you can also summon 3 quicklings as a bonus action. These creatures take a separate collective turn in combat and will all attack one creature of your choosing. You can choose to dismiss the creatures as a bonus action, regaining 1 charge if all 3 quicklings are still alive. So I don't know what the quicklings are. I guess they would be the rose petals or the roses or something, which I think is pretty cool. Kind of gives you the freedom to make them look like whatever you want, I guess.
I do like giving flavor power to the player.
Yeah. So there is also a variant to this weapon, the Awakened Crimson Scythe.
Oh.
So the scythe has become corrupted by its latest wielder. To awaken it, its wielder must meet the following criteria: be a druid of good alignment, have healed a diseased plant back to health, have traveled to the Feywild, and have personally slain 20 undead. Upon becoming awakened, apply the following changes to the weapon. The poison damage that is dealt by the petals changed to radiant damage. A bonus attack deals an additional 1d8 radiant damage. The red obsidian blade is now a vorpal blade. Upon scoring a critical hit, the scythe decapitates its target. Slices off 1 head. If the creature cannot survive without the head, it dies. Any magical effect is added. As a bonus action, you can cast a modified version of Prayer of Healing. To cast it, you slam the bottom of the staff into the ground. A giant spectral rose blooms from this point, reaching all the way across the 30-foot radius of the spell. All friendly creatures under the spectral rose heal 2d8 plus your spell attack modifier's hit points.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty sick, right? I fuck with this. I like it a lot.
I mean, I was already sold immediately because, like I said, I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, so the rose scythe aesthetic, loving it.
Yeah, I go ahead and pop this link for you somewhere.
I also like that it can grow with the druid, provided they complete those tasks. And not telling them about the tasks is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. The idea that the scythe is corrupted by the previous holder, you have to kind of cleanse it in a way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Magic items that evolve are pretty neat.
Yeah. Here's the link for this.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all I have for the homebrew today. Also, this was made by, where is it? Find the name. Of Tales Untold. I think they are on like social medias and stuff like that. Epileptic Adopts on DeviantArt.
That reminds me of how I didn't actually plug the person that made my homebrew.
Look at you.
But they have a very fitting name for this gun-themed episode.
Oh yeah.
Throbbing Freedom.
Oh God. Oh,
amazing.
Oh, no.
I wasn't planning that. It's so good.
Oh man.
Nothing says throbbing freedom like a gun.
That's great.
Oh.
I gotta give that site the 10.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I personally just love the whole. It can get better.
Yeah. I can definitely see an RP moment where like your druid picks up the scythe and having met all the requirements, it just like the petals bloom and the blade turns into like a spectral vorpal aesthetic, and they're like, what's going on? It'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Now, something that I saw recently on Reddit the other day kind of leads me to a question I kind of want to ask both of you. If you could have one D&D spell from level 1 to level 3, and you only get like maybe a few spell slots a day, like for every 10 years you've been alive, that's like, okay, that's a spell slot.
Okay.
Right, I believe when I did this, I got it was 2.5 spell slots. So I chose like 3 spells. What was the ones that I picked? I don't remember. Oh yeah.
Oh, so you've seen? Oh yeah, you saw that.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. So I chose Vortex Warp, Lesser Restoration, and Create Food and Drink. So I'm never going to work or the doctor's again.
Yeah.
I think Lesser Restoration's a solid pick. Mostly because if you start a Patreon, right? And then you're just like, I'm going around curing people of crippling diseases.
Like I have real healing powers.
Right?
Yeah. You could get like 2 to 3 people cured every day. Outsource the decision making on what the priority list of people is to somebody else.
Pretty secret, so I don't get like captured or experimented on by the government. But
just be very public. Listen, a genie gave me this. It's out of my control.
We get disappeared by the government, man.
The genie said I couldn't wish for everyone to be healed, so I'm doing it myself. Also, check out the Patreon. Yeah, well, you got to make your money. And the cool thing about having a Patreon as this all-powerful healer that's going around curing diseases, right, is you're not asking for money from the people you're healing. It's just you're running around healing people all the time, and people want to give you money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right. And then, food and drink, obviously, and I don't have to buy food and drink anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's solid.
No more. No, I was also thinking, if we were able to get a higher spell, Hero's Feast, obviously, but Fortunately,
That's
sure.
pretty solid. I'm personally a big fan of Misty Step.
No, I was thinking Misty Step,
that's
but
fine.
also Vortex Warp has a range of 60 feet, I think, and it's basically the same thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I think with Vortex Warp, you can move someone else if you want. So it's pretty cool.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I've always wanted teleportation powers, so I was like Vortex Warp or Misty Step, would be my go-tos for sure.
Yeah.
One of those
Good.
would be a pretty solid pick.
Yeah.
What about you?
How about
Josh?
you, Josh?
Oh, well, create food and drink was definitely going to be one of mine too. Let's see. Prestidigitation is actually
Ooh.
really freaking useful.
Yeah, true.
So I could see taking that and cure wounds for same reason as restoration. It's very very useful, and you can help people and
Yeah, definitely.
Oh
No, I
gosh.
did see a lot of people say Fireball and Counterspell.
Of course.
They're like, somebody's gonna have to Counterspell, and people fireballing all over the place.
I saw that, and I'm just like, I would be lying if I said I didn't think of Fireball for the sake of who wouldn't want to be like Megumin from Konosuba running around every day like Fireball.
I don't think I would want such an offensive spell, because not
in the real world.
Why would you need that?
Well, I think Fireball would be good. Like, maybe if you were doing some real sketchy stuff, like, like say you worked for the cartels.
Right.
No one's gonna fuck with you guys if you have a motherfucker that's over there like Fireball. Like all of a sudden, everyone's just like, okay, that person just makes things explode on site. I don't know how it works, but I'm not about to fuck around and find out.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
I gotta say, I've always been a fan of Lightning Bolt over Fireball. It's just a flavor thing, but
I did also see a lot of Unseen Servants and Mage Hands.
Oh, yeah.
I am also a fan of the Lightning Bolt because it's closer to a Kamehameha. Just I want to shoot a plasma beam, and that's about as good as it gets.
Lightning Bolt would be horrifying if someone just threw a lightning bolt. Oh my god!
Yeah,
it's just so cool, though.
That'd be terrifying.
I think for utility, though, you could get a surprising amount of utility out of Chromatic Orb.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay, acid, I can melt through some metal. Fire, I'm gonna light something on fire. Lightning, okay, let's get zippity zappity. So on and so forth. Element types are just useful.
It's true.
You need a fan in your room, Chromatic Orb, some winds.
Yep.
I don't think that would work, but still. It's the principle.
It's too hot in your house, Chromatic Orb and Ice Ball. There you go.
I'm gonna just I couldn't help but notice that your drink over there is getting a little warm. Let me Chromatic Orb.
You Ray of Frost, you freeze the whole
Yeah, I was
cup.
gonna say Ray of Frost a little more focused.
Just destroys the entire glass in the process.
Their
You're
hand
welcome.
is like frostbitten. All in a day's work.
And no need to thank me.
I think that's a good ending point for this episode.
All right. So, would you like to plug your stuff?
Sure.
Yeah,
So find me on DM's Guild, Joshua E. Momer. I'm OHMER. I have 4 books in the Smoke and Thunder line and 2 new planar PC races, which I didn't bring up earlier. But if you want to be a Modron or a Mind Flayer, hit me up.
Ooh. Well, let's get a little bit into that before we finish up. That's
nice.
Okay.
You didn't drop the ball like that.
he was holding out on us.
Yeah, that's my latest work. They're a couple of 1-page PDFs. They're basically PC races that kind of level up.
I gotta ask, man, with the Modron race, do they promote?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. You start out as a monodrone, and then each time you level up in your class, you can choose to drop the sub features of your current form and switch to the next one.
I really like that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Like a character. Sure.
Yeah, so they're a little bit spicy on the power level because two of the forms have wings, including the first level one. So
right.
That's something that some people like to avoid. WotC has added a fairy race recently, so they fly. So I figured, why not?
Yeah. How does it scale when you get to like the Deca drones and the secondary?
So I stuck with what's in the monster manual, so it topped out at Pentadrone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds
but
I guess because in those higher ranks, those are kind of you're getting into the range of like level 15 players anyway.
Yeah, they really are. But also, obviously these are rogue Modrons, which is actually the name of the product. I figure once you're severed from Mechanus, that you probably you're promoting under basically your own willpower instead of through the celestial system. So there would be levels you can't attain.
Makes sense.
I'm loving it so far.
Yeah,
and
that's really cool.
it kind of like forgive me for making the comparison here, but you've basically created the functional way for a bunch of players that want to be like minions. Like you want.
Oh no!
Yeah, you got a Despicable Me campaign right
Jesus.
there.
Oh god!
All your players are just monodrones.
Yes.
And they could just like speak their own little broken monodrone language.
Jesus Christ, I love it. That's amazing.
Nice.
Banana.
Oh no.
Hipposuchi.
That's what we leave it with, guys. The idea for a Despicable Me campaign. Oh, man. Guys, definitely check out Josh. His projects sound great. I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
Thanks.
I mean, the potential for a Despicable Me campaign. This is a Despicable Me Forgotten Realms, the rise of a random dude named Drew.
It's just Drew Carey.
The character arc is that he starts out like a little on the hefty side, and then he grows into a skinny game show host. He lost a lot of weight being on The Price is Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Jim Carrey or Drew Carey in D&D.
I mean, that's a party patron right there. It writes itself. Because your master gives you missions.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Check us out. Check out our Patreon. Check out our social medias at TheNerdMilitia. Leave us a comment and a rating if you want. No pressure at all. It does help us out a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I would love to see more like reviews or ratings on the Apple podcast, because I've been looking at that. As of recently, we're at 212 on the rating, so that's pretty good. I didn't think we'd be that high this early on.
It's definitely good to be starting somewhere. Could be worse.
I kind of want to crack that top 200, because like that just sounds big to me.
Yeah. Guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. We are Dungeons and Talk Shows.
Thanks for listening to Dungeons and Talk Shows, brought to you by the Nerd Militia. Check us out on Patreon or Discord if you want to support us. And if you want to get more Nerd Militia content, you can follow us on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and YouTube. Or really any of the usual podcasting platforms. But as always, we're nerds, so what do we know?